Morning, everyone. Give me a couple of minutes to set my tablet.
Good morning, sir.
Good
Morning,
morning,
sir.
sir.
uh,
Morning.
Vito, you seem to be very popular here. Where are you from? From Timapur?
From Chumogidima.
And how have you appeared exams before?
Yes, only one time.
Or I mean last year or
Yes,
this
in
year?
PC last year. Last year
Um,
in PC.
did you pass the prelims?
No,
Okay, Vishay.
uh,
Question was
because
difficult.
I'm taking first time coaching.
Oh, and how old are you?
27.
Oh, okay. And you graduated from which college?
Unity College.
Unity College, Timapur.
Yes.
Okay, right. And you are preparing for NPSC.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes. So, who is an indigenous inhabitant of Nagaland? Forget about exams. Forget about any other thing. Just as a Naga, what is the answer for this? Please tell me in the chat box. Who I've asked it.
Recording in progress.
I've
I've
asked this
asked this
question
question
yesterday.
yesterday, right? So, who is an indigenous inhabitant of Nagaland? What is the answer?
17 tribes.
The 17 tribes are the indigenous inhabitants of Nagaland. And 17. Okay. Anyone else? There are 15 tribes. Okay. 15 tribes. They are the indigenous inhabitants of Nagaland. Okay. This question came for 5 marks in NPSC. Who settled in Nagaland prior to 1963? Keho. Okay. Officially, that is the right answer. Officially, who settled in Nagaland prior to 1963? So the question is, the government is saying that those people who came prior to 1963, whether I think inclusive of everyone, whether you are black, white, yellow, red, you are considered as an indigenous inhabitant of Nagaland. So there is some problem with that definition given by the government, which I want to study this morning. So I said this is an important class, not only for your exam purpose, but for you as a Naga. Okay. So, but before we go into this, you are going to get a lot of your doubts and your questions clarified regarding our identity this morning. But before we go into this morning we'll be discussing about the Register of Indigenous Inhabitants of Nagaland, officially known as RIN, which is yet to be implemented. We will discuss who proposed the RIN to the government, why RIN is not yet implemented. Why did the government try to do with the 4 tribes, Karo and Kuki last year, Mikir and Kachari, and what is the present position? Before that, as usual, I want to begin with analogy. Analogy is important, example is important because it helps us to understand our lives and concepts better, right? So for this morning, the story is this again. There is a very big colony. Suppose imagine that this is your colony. Whether you are staying in Dimapur, Chumu, Mugukchung, Kohima, Woka, doesn't matter. You are living in this colony. And then your parents are here in this part of the colony. You are here with your kids. Your elder sister is here. Your younger brother's family is here. Your eldest brother's family is here. Your uncle's family is here. Your aunt's family is here, right? And there are also other people around you. Okay, so you have been living like this for ages now. You also go to your parents' house. Your parents also comes to your place, and you also go to your elder brother's house, your cousins, your aunties, uncles. You are living peacefully here. You are one family. Okay. Suddenly, something happens, and the government decides to build walls. Like Donald Trump wants to build wall to prevent Mexicans from entering America. So they build walls. Your parents and your elder brothers, they are in the same category. Somehow you are left alone, right? They build walls like this, and you grow up like this. Okay. Now you cannot visit each other for now because a wall has been built, right? And because of this, now you are living separate lives. And earlier you belonged to one family, but now because of this geographical walls, you don't see each other. As time passes, you are forgetting each other. And because of one reason or the other, now you start hating each other. You start hating each other. Okay, you are hating your elder brother, you are hating your younger brother, even though you belong to the one family. But because of this walls, right? So this is again a very weak analogy, but this will help us to understand our identity today. Okay, right? So uh, you will understand why I have explained about this. Now let's go to the question: who is an indigenous inhabitant of Nagaland? The term is indigenous inhabitant of Nagaland. So, as per us, a scholar or as a common man, whoever it is, question is Nagalendi taka indigenous asol malik tukunase. If we translate this question into Nagamese, Nagalendi taka mati malik kandukunase. Something like that. Indigenous inhabitant. Nagalendi taka indigenous inhabitant kandukunase. Original mati malik kan. Original indigenous kandukunase. This is the question. But the government defines indigenous inhabitant as those people who were there in Nagaland before the formation of Nagaland state. And they have to produce various documents like iroldit nam takibo lagi, mati laga pata takibo lagi, all those things. And we will learn why this definition is problematic. Because by including this definition, so for example, GP Mills can be a ditagishe, Charles Pausibe tagishe, tapos tayo la pachado Nagalindi po jaise. But they were there before 1963. So does it mean that those people who belong to England are now indigenous inhabitant of Nagaland? By Nagaland government definition, yes, because they were there before 1963, correct? So people who came from Nepal, brought by the British people, who came from Rajasthan, okay, to Naga Hills during the British time, who came from various parts of India, are they the indigenous inhabitant of Nagaland? They are not, because they are not Nagas in the first place, and they came from Nepal, they came from Bihar, they came from Rajasthan, but Nagaland Nobunaram Ditakandu Takeshi Nagaland. So by Nagaland government's definition of indigenous inhabitant, they are the indigenous inhabitant of Nagaland, right? So just keep these facts and arguments in your mind. So you can also argue with me. I'm just presenting what I feel is the right thing. Okay. So in because you might be asked to write essays like 10 marks, 20 marks if one day you write mains exam. So all these arguments might come handy. Okay, so but while on the point of discussion, Yeah, we'll come to this kacharis and all these things later. But yes, very good question. What about the mikirs? What about the kacharis? Right now, we will come back to it. But before that, let me also try to answer this question. Everyone, okay, whether you have graduated from this college, that college, whether you belong to this community, that community, if you call yourself a Naga, Abuni Naga Manu Azugolido, give me the answer for this. Who is a Naga? Let's try. I will not proceed this morning unless you give the answers, because as a Naga, you should be able to answer. Who is a Naga? Definition do, exam day, who is a Naga? Gonna 5 marks aile. What will you write? Tell me. You better text because audio do clear no na. Right? Somebody wants to speak also, it's
Rel
alright. But
realm of a naked.
okay. Yeah, anyone else? Who is a Naga? Naga Guadukunazi. Who is a Naga? The question is Naga Guadukunazi. Who is a Naga? Should be, if you write realm of the naked, I don't know whether you'll get marks in exam, but yeah, that
Indigenous
was it.
inhabitant.
Naga is indigenous inhabitant. Anyway, so please tell me, who is a Naga? Nobody dares to answer this question. Are they? Okay, if you answer this question, underground manu ahina abuni ke turilubo no hoy. Why are you refusing to answer this question? Don't think about whether your answer is right or wrong, because there's no correct answer to this question. Who is a Naga?
Naga is derived from the term Nag, which means naked people.
Okay, you are just repeating what your other teacher has taught you about. Yeah, but apart from all these definitions, people residing people residing in Naga Hill. Okay, so people residing in Naga Hill, Charles Pausi bhi dagishe, Chibi Mills can be dagishe, Nepali can be dagishe. So are they Nagas? Because he also resided in Naga Hills? No, nah. A Naga is an indigenous person belonging to the Naga ethnic group who are native to the Naga Hills region of the Northeast India. So that is like Wikipedia like answer. Internet copy paste kojula. All the existing tribes of Nagaland. All the existing tribes of Nagaland do Naga Zuguli do Burma di daga, Manipur di daga, ito kan do kias, ito kan do Naga no hai. Right? A group of tribals who migrated to the present day Naga Hills. Okay, so again, there's a problem with, no matter how we try to answer this question, there is a problem with with our answer, because if you say a group of tribals who migrated to the present day Naga Hills, to Naga Hills din nadagagan tadi chagina Assam di dagagan migration gura Burma di dagagan to ito kan do Naga noha hoise to, right? A person belonging to one of the 15 recognized tribes of Nagaland. That is why, see, why you are giving me such answers is because of this story that I have told you. Whether you want to agree with me or not, whether you want to get angry or not, because of various political reasons, because of various factional killings, our definition, our judgment, our wisdom has been clouded. Now, the question is, we're coming back to the story, and the question is, who is your family? That is the question. And you are answering, those people who are living in this part is my family. Ito kaso do, in this group of people are also saying only these people who are living here is my family. But in fact, before these boundaries were erected, your dad, your elder sister, younger sister, you, cousins, auntie, they are all your one single family. Correct? Right? So you will be amazed to know, so many other things. So that is who is a Naga. We will try to learn more. Now, in order to understand, Nagas are living beyond borders. Yeah, that can be one of the pointers that we can have for discussion. Like I said, I'm showing you a map, right? And now, this morning, whether you want to get upset or enlightened, it's up to you. But I'll tell you what the truth is. No matter what the theories are, we all agree that we have migrated from China thousands of years ago, let's say 1,000 years ago, 1,500 years ago, maybe 2,000 years ago. We need more research, but it's certainly more than 1,000 years ago. We came from China through maybe Southeast Asia, Thailand, and Burma. And so after coming through all this, we settled here. We settle in this part of the, remember, this is a present map of Northeast India. But when our forefathers migrated, the map was not like this. All these lines that are thrown in the map, itu kan do mo kan politically puna ase, right? But our forefathers, they settled here. Manipur side day, Burma side day, Nagaland side, present Nagaland side day, Arunachal side day. So this is where we settled. Will be 1963 day kitya Nagaland form hoise, itu hi Nagaland hoise, right? And then presently there are 15 tribes here. So 15 tribes to hit Naga ase gobo. We cannot say that, like I said, if you go to Noklak today, Kimungans, there are more Kimungan villages living in Burma than in Nagaland. They are speaking the same language. They belong to the same tribe. To Burma di daga Kimungan gandu Naga no hoy. They are also Nagas. We learned in our Christianity class that Reverend Miles Bronson was the first missionary to the Nagas. But did he come to the Naga Hills? No. He came to this area, right? Namsang village, Nukti Nagas. They were in present day Tirap district of Arunachal Pradesh. But they happen to be outside of the present day state of Nagaland. Tu takan tu Naga no hoy. Takan be Naga as eh. In Manipur, we have so many Nagas living in 4 or 5 districts. Senapati, Okrol, Tamenglong, Chandel, right? We are all Nagas. Especially now that I am living in Peren. Like I said yesterday, there's no tribe called Ziliang. Ziliang is just a formation of Zaimi and Liangmai. And Rongmai, the Ziliang Rong. So Zaimi villages we have in Nagaland and we have in Manipur. Liangmai villages too, we have hardly 5 villages in Nagaland. Rest are in Assam, in Manipur. But they are the same people, same culture, same custom, same language, right? So can we say that they are not Nagas? We are all Nagas, just because of various, like I said, just because of various political reasons and factional killings in Yakubu, right? There are some people even within Nagaland. See, Nagaland is such a small piece of dot in the world map. Even within inside Nagaland, we fight against each other. Every time one tribe will fight against each other. Is there any tribe who is not fighting with any other tribe in Nagaland? Maybe Ringmas. I have not heard of Ringmas fighting with any other tribes. Maybe, I don't know, but Ringmas, maybe after that, can we recall any other tribes who is not fighting, who have not fought with any with other tribes in the past, even inside Nagaland? Nagaland Pitodibi Mogan Iman Chakra Kore, right? Tikir Gando do Yim Chungange, Larai Gorna Tikir Hua Chanoy. I mean, just saying. My point is that we are fighting against each other. Now think about people outside of Nagaland. To out of question, right? Pitur tipi mukan eknika chakar kurai jakulu itu pahadi itu mukan we don't even see with people. Our mindset is so narrow. Manipuri takakandu plain manu nishina pabi mukan. We don't consider them as equal to us for whatever reasons, right? For whatever reasons. But still, we are all Nagas, despite geographical boundaries. All Naga inhabited must be integrated to Nagaland state. Moiva will be very happy with your statement. That is what Moiva is also has been fighting, right? That all Naga inhabited areas must be integrated into Nagalim. Yeah, that is also true that Naga is a tag given by outsiders or foreigners. So yeah, but still then, Hill people, we have been classified as Nagas and we have been living like this for the past more than 2,000 years. Okay, so this is one part of the discussion. Now I will give you some question. When you try to answer this question, you will know, mui laga knowledge to imani tagiche. Mui laga suku do itihai kuliah na. So I'll give you some questions, and when you try to answer this question honestly, you will know. Okay. Right. So before that, before we go to the questions, like I said, in Nagaland, we have 15 tribes. That is Angami, Ao, Chakasang, Chang, Kimungan, Lot Kongyak, Lota, Pom, Puchuri, Rengma, Sangdam, Sumi, Tikir, Yimkyung, and Ziliang. These are the 15 tribes that are recognized, right? Now, but like I said, Nagas are not there only in Nagaland. In fact, more than 50% of Nagas, that is what we are trying to discuss, right? What is the definition of Naga? That is what we are trying to discuss. So please listen patiently. So 15 tribes are recognized as Naga tribes inside Nagaland, but there are more than 70 Naga tribes. Some people count even 80, some are counting even 100, but more or less there are more than 70 Naga tribes. That means more than 60-70% of Nagas live outside Nagaland. Correct? Now, for example, in Assam, if you go to Assam, you go to Karbi Anglong district and Dima Hasao district. These hill districts have small Naga populations, including Ziliangrong, that is the Zeme, Liangmai, and Rongmai communities, who share cultural ties with Manipur and Nagaland. So if you go to Assam, in Karbi Anglong and Dima Hasao districts, we have the Rongmais, we have the Liangmais, and the Zeme, who are also very much Naga like us. They just happen to live beyond Nagaland state boundary, right? Now, if you travel to Manipur, like I said, if you go to Okrul, you will see that the Okrul is predominantly inhabited by the Tangkul tribe, right? And so, but Tangkuls are also very much Naga as you are. If you go to Senapati district, you will see that there are Naga tribes like Maus, Maram, Pomi, and Ziliangrong. I believe that Mao is included in the Tenime tribe. Na? I think chief minister's wife is also from the Mao community. Okay, so but they are found in Sinapati district. That is why Mao Gate Koidagina Mogan when we after crossing this Kisama and Chakama area Tadi Chagina, when we go towards Manipur, we go to the Mao Gate. This is Sinapati district. In the Sinapati districts consists of Naga tribes. Those Naga tribes are Mao, Maram, Pomi, and Ziliangrong. Ziliangrong, though, we just combine it into one, okay? They are Zeme, Liangmai, and Rongmai. You know this. If you go to Tamenglong district today, you will see that in Tamenglong, we have our own brothers and sisters in Poi, Liangmai, and Rongmai. Again, Chandil district, Maring, Moyon, Anal, all these are Naga tribes. Kangpukki district, Maram, and Liangmai. So, Manipur Dibi in several districts there are Naga tribes. If you go to Arunachal Pradesh, you will see that in Tirap district we have the Nokti and Wangchu Nagas. In Longting district we have the Wangchu Nagas. In Changlang district we have Tangsa and Tutsa Nagas. They are all Nagas. We live in Tagan Nagaland Pitudi Nadagabura. We really don't know much about them, right? We think that 15 tribes to hit Nagas. No, there are more than 60 Naga tribes. If you go to Myanmar, Nagas are predominantly found in the Saigang region, that is Naga self-administrated zone in Kachin state. So Naga tribes living in Burma are Kongyaks, Kimingans, Annal, Moyan, etc. So my point here is why I'm showing you all this is to argue that Naga tribes, 15 tribes to hit Naga Zigulito, you are 100% wrong. Just because India government, Burmese government, British government, they decided that this part will be Naga Hills, this part will be Nagaland. That doesn't mean that after erecting all these imaginary boundaries, the people living beyond the boundaries are not our brothers and sisters. Historically, yes, we might have arguments with them. We must have fought with them. Yeah, they were so wrong. We must have fought with them. Even inside your family, you fight with your sister, you fight with your brother, but that doesn't mean that they are not your brother and your sister, right? Actually, man kin lagi. Even within the family, with your brother, with your younger sister, right? They interfere with you, they irritate you, you know. but that doesn't mean that they are not your brother and sister, correct? So no matter how what the situation is, we still come under one umbrella, that is Naga. So this is the map that I've shown you before. Now some questions. Please consider these questions very seriously, because even not only for exam point of view, but for you to develop a very robust and very advanced, not I won't say the word advanced, but to develop matured mentality, you need to be answering such questions. So I asked you yesterday, how many scheduled tribes are recognized in Nagaland? Now give me the answer. Many of you will be tempted to say that the answer is 15, right? Because we have 15 Naga tribes in Nagaland. But 15 is not the right answer, because this is like a trick question. Why? Now, some of you are saying 17, some of you are saying 5, some of you are saying 17. Now, which one is correct? See, from the very first, I have around 6, 7 questions to ask you. I'm asking the first question. From the first question, every one of you is giving me different answers. So what does this mean? This means that mga nijor laga history, nijor laga status, nijor laga indigenous to iman bahal ba na jane do. This is one of the reasons why our lands are now occupied by people from plains, because we don't know who we are in the first place. Some of you are saying 9. No. Remember, as per the Constitution of India, scheduled tribes. Okay? How many scheduled tribes are recognized in Nagaland? The answer is 5. The answer is 5. Okay? 5 to kiniga. See, there's a trick. Trick in a sense, we think that I mean, ekdam tribe tangwar, Angami, Lota, Sumi. You can name your own tribe. But Constitution is speaking, Ao is not a scheduled tribe. Angami is not a scheduled tribe. We all come under one scheduled tribe, which is called Naga. Okay. That is why if you want to appear UPSC exams, in your scheduled tribes, if it is written Ao only, then they will reject it, because Ao is not a recognized scheduled tribe in the constitution, in the government. But you should write it as in your scheduled tribe certificate. You should write Naga, and then you can write Ao in the bracket, or Naga Angami, right? So all our 15 tribes, we come under one scheduled tribe, which is called Naga. Clear? Not only for your exams, but these are very important for your knowledge, right? So which are the 4? So the list of recognized scheduled tribe in Nagaland includes Karo, Kuki, Mikir, Kachari, and Naga. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So answer is 5. Nagaland, how many scheduled tribes are recognized? There are so many scheduled tribes in India. Out of that scheduled tribes in India, 5 are recognized in Nagaland, which is Karo, Kuki, Mikir, Kachari, and Naga. Okay, so the answer is, how many scheduled tribes are recognized in Nagaland? MCQ 17, 5, 15. Please don't take 5 in 17. The answer is 5. Okay, if there's no more confusion regarding this, let us now see whether you can answer the second question without disagreeing with each other. The second question is, how many recognized tribes are? During exam, should we also include the tribes from all the Nagas from different states? It depends on the MCQ, right? And in descriptive to do, it depends on the question. So how many recognized tribes are there in Nagaland? You are saying 17. Everyone is saying 17. Okay, this is interesting. 15. Again, see, I'm quite surprised. Not surprised, but I'm so even here we cannot agree with each other. Some are saying 15, some are saying 17. First question also we couldn't agree. Second question also we are not agreeing. Okay, but it's okay. We will learn. how many recognized tribes are there in Nagaland? Yes, Sally, you are right. The answer is 19. Because the question is not how many Naga tribes, na? How many tribes are recognized in Nagaland? See the question. How many tribes are recognized in Nagaland? So 15 Naga tribes plus the 4 that we have just studied now. Karu, Kuki, Mikir, and Kachari. So 15 plus 4 will give you 19, right? How many recognized tribes are there in Nagaland? The answer is 19. 15 Naga tribes and 4 non-Naga tribes. So together, how many tribes are recognized in Nagaland? The answer is 15. Sorry, the answer is 15 plus 4, that is 17, 19, right? I'm also now getting so confused. The answer is 19. 15 plus 4, 19, right? Now, the question is now how many, wait, second question, we're done with the second question. Now, how many, now, right, yeah, let's answer this question. The third question is this. Now, let's see whether we are able to answer this without giving conflicting answers. How many recognized major tribes are there in Nagaland? How many recognized major tribes are there in Nagaland? Right? 15. Again, some are saying 15. How many recognized major tribes are there in Nagaland? Okay. So for the answer should be 17 here. Because again, in the question, there's no mention of the word Naga. Major Naga tribes, no, now. So if the question is only major tribes, ini 15 Naga plus Kuki and Kachari. Correct? Kuki and Kachari, because Ido Mikir, Aro, Karo, they are very small in number. So they are not considered as a major tribe. How many recognized major tribes are there in Nagaland? 15 plus 2, that is 17. Now this is an easy question. How many recognized Naga tribes are there in Nagaland? The answer is 15 here. Now, some are saying 14. Many people are writing 14 in the exams. I've seen that many people are writing 14. Why? Why are you still writing 14? Tikir kandu tribe no hoy. No, that means you have not updated your brain. So now 14 plus tikir will give us 15. So angami au chagasang chang kimingan lot konyak loda pom pochuri ringma sangdam sumi tikir yimkyung and ziliang. So how many tribes are there? How many recognized Naga tribes are there in Nagaland? The answer is 15. Okay. So these are the list of the Naga tribes that are recognized. That is 15. Now the next question is, how many tribes are categorized backward tribes for reservation in Nagaland? What is the answer? How many tribes are categorized backward tribes for reservation in Nagaland? Officially speaking, answer is, alright, no, why no one is giving me the right answer? For reservation in Nagaland, na, it's considered as backward tribes. Chakasang, Chang, Kimungan, Kongyak, Pom, Puchuri, Sangtam, Tikir, Yimkyung, Ziliang, and number 11, Sumis of Kifuri. Because Sumis of Kifuri are usually included and backward tribes for reservation in Nagaland, right? So this is like a technically difficult question to answer, because tribe as do dosta do sure as na. Olibi Sumis can do include corona no kuru, but then Sumis to part ita to include kres na Kifuri lagado. So these are recognized backward tribes for reservation in Nagaland. Okay, so 10 plus 1, depending on how the question is set. Okay. Now, what is the next question is, how many non-Naga tribes are recognized in Nagaland? What is the answer? How many non-Naga tribes are recognized in Nagaland? How many non-Naga tribes are recognized in Nagaland? Yes, by now you know that the answer is 4. Okay, so let us spend some time on this. Who are the Karos? Karu to কোন আছে?
Non-Naga.
Non-Naga tribe. You're giving me the answer only from the question. That is like Hindi exam di puila. If you don't know the answer, you simply write the question, right? Hindi lagado. That is what you're doing. No. Aya, indigenous inhabitants of Assam. How can you say that? Assamese Naga. Yeah, Meghalaya de Karo, Kasi, Chindia, Ingas, no, hey, Meghalaya. Originally, they are from Meghalaya, but Karos were there pre-independence, yes. So, Kiman Karo Dagishe, maybe a few hundreds of them who were there in Naga Hills prior to 1963, they are recognized. And so, Karo is a recognized non-Naga tribe. Kuki. Many people think that cookies are Nagas. Cookies are not Nagas. We have a lot of Kuki villages in Nagaland today, but Kukis are not Naga. They are recognized as the tribe of Nagaland, but not a Naga tribe, right? Many are confused. Kukis are not Nagas. There are so many Nagas in Manipur, which are not recognized in Nagaland, right? But they are Nagas. But Kukis who are recognized in Nagaland as a ST tribe, but they are not Nagas. So Kukis you will find in present day. Mau is a Naga, but Mau is not a recognized Naga tribe in Nagaland. That is what we have discussed. Correct. But that doesn't mean that you cannot marry a Mau girl. Okay, the degraded Christian youth. If you're dating a Mau girl, you don't have any problem. Just that they will not be eligible for employment in the government sector, right? Right. So cookies are predominantly there in Manipur. We have seen the violence a couple of years now, or maybe 2 3 years in Manipur. Cookies in Manipur, in Nagaland, they are here in Atipung, which is the headquarter in Peren district. We have villages under Atipung subdivision, and there are Kuki villages in present Metsibima area, Mulvom, Molva, Bungsang. All these are Kuki villages. These are recognized Kuki villages by the government of Nagaland. Mikir, M-I-K, who are the Mikirs? Kitab tido Mikir kan bishi mukan puri dagi, but actually who are the Mikirs? Can anyone tell me who are the Mikirs? Have you ever met a Mikir in your life? Okay, so see, Pachadabra Mikir. Actually, Mikirs are actually the present Karbi people, the Karbi people that lives in Karbi Anglong district of Assam. Okay, so they are called the Mikirs or the Karbis, and Nagaland in their language they are known as Arling. Taka nijo gido Arling, wede Arling, which means man in their language. Will be officially they are called Mikirs. So Karbi people are the Mikirs. So they live in the Karbi Anglong district of present day Assam. But like Karo people, some Mikirs were there in Naga Hills pre-independence, and hence they become like the indigenous non-Naga inhabitant. And so they are also a recognized tribe of Nagaland, non-Naga recognized tribe. And Kacharis, you know, Kacharigando, you already know that they belong to the Timasa kingdom, in Dimapur was the capital of the Timasa kingdom, and actually, technically speaking, they are the original Kikugo, inhabitants of Dimapur in Yago. So Kacharis. Okay, so these are the non-Naga tribes that are recognized in Nagaland. Now let's come back to the question: who is an indigenous inhabitant of Nagaland? Who naze Nagaland laga Malik Kando, right? Okay, so let's see what the official statement of the government says. Might be a little difficult for you to read, but in the year 1997, the government gives a notification. So the governor of Nagaland is pleased. Please means governor of Nagaland to Kushibaya Zawish. The governor of Nagaland is pleased to decide that in order to qualify as an indigenous inhabitant of the state of Nagaland, but they have said that for the purpose of employment, Nagaland government de employment public arne. That is the definition. For the purpose of employment, in order to qualify as an indigenous inhabitant of the state of Nagaland, a person should have been settled permanently in Nagaland prior to 1963 1st December, because that is when the state of Nagaland was inaugurated, right? So the criteria are, you have to write these things in the exams if they ask. So please pay attention. In order for the purpose of employment, in order to qualify as an indigenous inhabitant of Nagaland, a person should have been permanently settled in the Naga Hills or Nagaland prior to 1st December 1963, and he should fulfill one of the three criteria. The first criteria is that tay laga nam, nuhilibi tay laga baba laga nam, nuhilibi tay laga baba laga nam, or any legitimate guardians, itu nam do electoral roll that was published in 5th of December 1963 tati tagibo lage. Because that is one of the proofs. Itu time the electoral roll election karne electoral roll banaishi, electoral roll tido Naga Hills ti kiman jon ase kala poka ki sundur idokan poka idokan sob phalishi do na. To te abun laga ancestors to asigulido. That means it is a proof that your ancestors were there in Naga Hills prior to 1963. That is one of the proofs that you have to submit, that your name, your father's name, your guardian's name should be there. Number two, itu nadagishigulido, house tax was collected before the formation of the state. So the person or his parents or legitimate guardian should have been paying house tax prior to 1st December 1963. Nohelido, your parents, your guardians, or your legitimate guardian should have acquired property and pata on it prior to 1963 1st December. Okay, so these are the three criteria that are given by government of Nagaland for the purpose of, for the definition of indigenous inhabitant of the state of Nagaland, but for the purpose of employment. Okay, that means anyone who came, anyone who were here prior to 1963 was eligible for government service. And why all of you are eligible for government service? Because your grandfathers, your great grandfathers were there in your village prior to 1963. But more sometimes our Naga brothers from Manipur side, they come after 1963 and they also appear exams, and itu time the NSF kan iman halagori no he that itu kan do indigenous Naga no hoy. I mean indigenous inhabitant no hoy guna court case TV bishi jai after every exam, right? Nigaze. So not only from Manipur, but from other states also. Okay. Now, so but what is the issue here? The issue in the definition is that in the notification, you won't see that there is the word Naga mentioned. The word Naga is not mentioned in the notification. Notification, it simply states that in order to qualify as an indigenous inhabitant of the state, indigenous Naga inhabitant, iniga kwane the government do, indigenous inhabitant of the state, right? Indigenous peoples, first peoples, natives, tribes, itu kan iko Chulanai. So based on the meaning and then of the government of Nagaland notification, one can confidently state that the use of the term indigenous inhabitants means a person having permanent settlement in Nagaland. So this is just my view. Actually, ido Nagaland government do indigenous inhabitants ido definition tiado. Actually, they are giving definition for PRC karni tiado. having permanent settlement in Nagaland. They have, so those people, British will be, Nepalese kan will be, Assamese kan will be, Bihari, Rajasthan, kon will be 1963 prior the Ahegina, Naga Hills, the Pohagan do indigenous inhabitants as do Nagaland government do, right? But actually, the definition that they are giving is not for indigenous inhabitants, but permanent settlement, PRC Nishina. Because indigenous inhabitants do, we cannot claim that somebody is an indigenous inhabitant simply because he came before 1963, right? Like I said, Charles Pausi Laga Pachado, indigenous inhabitants of Nagaland Ovo. We know that they cannot be an indigenous inhabitant of Nagaland, right? But for the purpose of employment, the government Laga definition, though. Right. So these are the things that I have discussed. I'm discussing all this because you should also know this. Plus, exam the I hate question itu, bro. So, by this definition alone, the concept of indigenous can be misused and misappropriated, right? Like I'm saying, any person, indigenous or non-indigenous, tribal, non-tribal, who qualifies to have settled permanently in Nagaland, acquires the legal status of an indigenous inhabitant. That is what is causing so much confusion today, especially with the issue of ILP in Dimapur, right? Now, that is about the definition of who Nagas are, that is the definition of who is an indigenous inhabitant of Nagaland. Now, let's discuss another important topic for your exam, which is called RIN. RIN. What is RIN? Register of Indigenous Inhabitants of Nagaland. I remember in 2019 or 1819, the government of Nagaland decided that Naga Manu Kiman Chun Nagalandi Pohiaze register ekta ponabo. And we will write all the names of the Nagas, which is called Register of Indigenous Inhabitants of Nagaland. Nagaland has been trying to, this is what has been trying to enact the reign for the past 6 7 years, but there is opposition from different section of the society, and hence we are not able to start reign. The government decided or tried to implement RIN last year with 4 tribes. The 4 tribes went to court. Itu bi naparigin ham pohiazi. So itu RIN to keep the idea pa here. What is the history behind RIN? What is the purpose of RIN? Why is the government of Nagaland trying to come up with a register of indigenous inhabitants of Nagaland? Let's discuss this morning. Okay? Right. So see, to the 1st August 2018, this was the day on which the government of Nagaland notification was issued. And this notification is not for RIN. There is an IAS officer by the name of Abhishek Singh. He was the TC of Mokokchung some years ago. He is presently one of the senior most IAS officers in the state. The government decided to form a committee called Abhishek Singh Committee. And Abhishek Singh's committee was how to strengthen the existing ILP system in the state. Aro Nagalande influx of illegal immigrants kandu kiniga check kurubo, kiniga regulate kurubo, right? So in 2018, 21st August, the government of Nagaland formed a committee which is called Abhishek Singh Committee, headed by the IAS officer Abhishek Singh. And the job of that committee was to suggest measures to the government how to strengthen the present system of issuing ILP in the state, as well as to recommend various methods, modalities to check the influx of illegal immigrants. Okay, so I'm telling you the history behind RAIN. Okay, now there is no connection between ILP and RAIN at the moment, but in the following slides, we will connect this to. Now, what happens was the Abhishek Singh committee submitted the report to the cabinet, state cabinet on February 15, 2019. So in that report, at that time Dimapur was not under Dimapur was not under ILP. Dimapur means present new land and Chumukitima. So the commission, I mean the committee submitted report saying that Dimapur include Kurlipal Hobo, Nohobo, right? Oh, everything was also presented because Taido ILP laga study correlate as a rain too. But apart from ILP, what the Abhishek Singh committee submitted to the government was, other than the measures to improve and strengthen the existing system of ILP, the Abhishek Singh committee also recommended the government of Nagaland to come out with the register of indigenous inhabitants of Nagaland. So the cabinet, the government decided that this is a very good idea. And so on 29 June 2019, a government notification was given, was issued, right? So this rain, I think the concept of rain, they borrowed the idea from NRC Assam. In Assam also, there was a lot of problem regarding issue of illegal immigrants. So they conducted the NRC some years ago. So similarly, rain was a similar idea because Nagaland government is now like Ityado Nagaland di Nagas kandu not only Nagas holibe manukan Naga tribe holibe non Naga tribe holibe plain manu holibe Poka holibe Kala holibe Kata holibe Lamba holibe everyone is now there in Nagaland. So the government wanted to maintain a register. Ita do indigenous inhabitants of Nagaland itu konazi itu kan do liki na rakibo lage ininga kurina. The government tried to start this ambitious project. So what is RIN? RIN to ki hobo gule do RIN will be the master list of all the indigenous inhabitants of Nagaland. Meaning in your village, in the future, sub manu ahi jaise. Na pusti alak manu laga pusti bhi aise, plain manu bhi aise, all mix up hoise. So your village council decide itia do register ekta de pusti manu original kan do liki lubo. Inika nishina the Nagaland government also decided that RIN will be the master list of all indigenous inhabitants of Nagaland, right? And this RIN will prevent issuance of fake indigenous inhabitants certificate because indigenous inhabitants certificate to paishugulito people apply for government jobs, right? I'm sure that when you appear for your NSSP and NPSC, they will also ask you to submit your indigenous inhabitant certificate. And I'm sure that all of you have got your indigenous inhabitant certificate from the DC office or from the ADC office, right? So once this RIN is done, itu RIN di taka nam aru tai laga pacha kan tu he indigenous certificate pabole ase. So this will prevent in the future pahar manu, right? Alak state pura ahigina indigenous certificate utaboli try gorilibe RIN di nam nai to napabo. So that was the idea. Very good idea. So how will rain be prepared? Rain will be prepared after an extensive survey with the help of village-wise, ward-wise of indigenous inhabitants based on official records, and it will be prepared under the supervision of district administration. That was the whole idea behind RIN. Okay. Now, I mean, yes. So some more points. Like I said, no fresh indigenous inhabitant certificate will be issued after RIN is completed, except for children born to the state's indigenous inhabitants who will be issued indigenous certificates along with birth certificates. So these were some of the ideas that were incorporated, right? So the RIN database will be updated accordingly. The RIN will also be integrated with the online for inner line permit. A temporary document non-inhabitants are required to possess for entry into and travel in Nagaland. And the entire exercise will be monitored by the Commissioner of Nagaland because the Commissioner of Nagaland is the head of all the DCs of Nagaland. Who is the head of the all the DCs of Nagaland? Commissioner of Nagaland. Okay, so this was the idea of RIN, that once the register is completed, indigenous certificates will be issued only to those people who are there in the register or children born to those in the register. Okay, right. So on later they also wanted to integrate the RIN register with ILP and so many other things. Okay. Now, how did the public perceive this? So in 2019-20, there was a public outcry from the civil societies in other public organizations. Nagaland to ini guys, na Nagaland government to kiba ikta koribo goli do hala do koribuli as from one quarter or the other. So I also believe that it was a good idea to have a register of indigenous inhabitants of Nagaland to safeguard our interests for the future. But there was an outcry from the public saying that public was not consulted, this was not done, this was not done. So as usual, when the public is objecting or asking questions about rain, what the government did was the government held several consultative meetings with the civil societies. The government decided to have meetings with the civil societies, and as a result, a committee was formed, which is known as the PANU Committee on Rain. Who is PANU? PANU is our ex-chief secretary, Panu Jamir, wife of Sir Alam Tamshi, right? So under her leadership, a committee was formed, which is called Panu Committee on Rain. So in 2019, the state government organized this three-member committee, which is called the Panu Committee, to analyze, examine, and suggest rain adoption, which is known as Panu Committee. Okay. So what was the job of the committee? The Panu Committee was asked to indigenous Manodo, sorry, indigenous person. What are the requirements for becoming an indigenous person? And what are the authority to substantiate claims of indigenous ancestry? Registration as an indigenous inhabitants takes place at its location, right? The foundation of indigenous claims, the types of documents are to be accepted as proof of indigenous ancestry. So, because when you are trying to form a register, when you are trying to form a register of all the indigenous inhabitants of Nagaland, so many questions arises. And that is what the civil societies were also asking to the government. Itu manu to indigenous inhabitants korna ki laga criteria pura kuru buli ase ho. Are you still going to use the 1963 yardstick? Are you going to say 1979 yardstick? Right? Taido indigenous manu azugoli do. And some people might be adopted. Right? That can be indigenous hobo na no hobo. Some people might be legally adopted. That can be indigenous hobo na no hobo. So many questions are there when you are trying to come up with the indigenous inhabitants of Nagaland. Right? So the committee was asked to find answers and measures for all these problems, for all these questions that the public were asking. Okay. Now, but today is 2020, 21 August 2025. Government tried to start rain in 2019. India, though 6-7 years have passed, but government has not officially released the Panu Committee report. Panu Committee where government ki deshi do I think nobody knows. I don't know why government has not released the report. Aro rain be ini cold storage ragi deshi, right? Aro from 2021, 22, 23, 24, there was no news about rain. Last year, all of a sudden, the Government of Nagaland Home Department Political Branch, they issued a notification saying that an enumeration exercise to be conducted on the people of the people, the direct ancestors from Karu, Kuki, Kachari, and Mikir, that is the Karbi tribe, settled in Nagaland prior to 1963. And also to remind the eligibility for issuance of IIC, PRC. The enumeration of Nepalese Korkas who have permanently settled in Nagaland prior to 31st December 1940 and their direct descendants will also be conducted simultaneously. Now, I don't know for what reasons, but last year in September 2024, the government said, okay, ita do alak tribe to chai lagi mi holi bi Karu, Koki, Kachari, Mikir, aro Nepalese kan laga do first kindi gurbu goji, right? 1963 1st December nohadam di ahagan aro Nepalese kandu 1940 nohadam di ahagan do koribo goise. So obviously these people objected. These four minority tribes fled government order over rain. You say that so many things were done, and so these tribes, the Kukis, Kacharis, Karos, and Mikirs, they went to court, right? And they went to court, and the court said not to do the rain exercise. Again, the government was not happy with them going to court, so the government said, "Apunikan ito enumeration do nukar bogoli do indigenous certificate nadi bogose." That is why even some months back we received order from the government not to issue indigenous certificates to this Kukis, Kacharis, Karus, and Mikirs. Again, they went to court, and court said, "Nai, indigenous certificates to tibo lagi takan gitu." Ini aku aja. So ini kan dia sih. At the moment, we have not received any notification. Court pro kuise certificate to ti tagibi. Government has not given us any direction. So mo ando itiado application bi ahanai will be. We are just waiting for the government notification. Okay, so but I also understand the logic what you are saying. Are rindu iki logot korbo koise 2019 de ita to kili mugan non nagas kan ki hindi korbo koise na. So that was maybe one of the reasons was a lot of cookies have migrated from Manipur into the present day Nagaland because of the ethnic violence that happened in Manipur. Maybe this might be one of the reasons why the government wants to have a rain exercise for this four tribes. Okay, right now after this, the government has also issued new guidelines for issue of indigenous inhabitants certificate. See, in Nagaland, you have to get your ST certificate, you have to get your indigenous inhabitants certificate, and if you belong to the backward reservation category, you have to get your backward tribe certificate also. So ST certificate it is mostly for your central exams. Indigenous certificate is for your state exams. Now earlier for your indigenous certificate, I'm sure that what you did was you got a form from the TC office. Ito form do chai na abuni village council chairman nolio gon bora sign korobo. After that, EA sector sign korobo, and then you got your indigenous certificate. The government has now made some changes to this system, and they have issued some new guidelines that indigenous inhabitants certificates as usual. This is the 15 tribes, right? 15 recognized Naga tribes, Kangidibo, along with Kachare, Kuki, Karo, and Mikir tribes. So the new thing that the government has added is Itiado village council chairman will not sign the indigenous inhabitants certificate like a from the, but there should be a village verification committee. Village verification committee ikta tagibo. Okay, the village council chairman will nominate a committee which is called as the village verification committee, right? So one member, if you this is recently issued by the government, so you might expect questions from this section in your MCQ or your descriptive. I don't know, but I feel that this is also important. So who will be the convener of the committee? A member of the village council. Okay, and the members will be head GB or president of village youth organization, head teacher of the GMS or GPS, VTP for ekta maigi, or maigi laga organization, village women's organization for ekta member, and Kilbra village te Kil alak tagibo tadibra representatives, right? And also from the church probably ekta member. So this committee will verify all the applications for claim of indigenous certificate. So village verification committee do every year before the 10th of January submit ko lagi TC logot, right? So I work in the DC office. So under our district, all the villages have submitted this village verification committee. So basing on this committee, we also scrutinize whenever somebody applies for indigenous certificates, we check whether the committee has verified or not. If the committee is not verified, we send back to the ESAs to send back to the village or the applicants for so that the village verification committee issues verifies the report or application, right? So these are some of the instructions that they have given for how to verify who are eligible, how to verify the applications, right? So remember, only two authorities are authorized to sign such certificates, the TC. Only the TC can sign, or Tayo Natagilido ADC. Only these two people can sign the indigenous inhabitants certificate. No other person. Okay. So yes. So this is about the indigenous inhabitants status. Any question? Otherwise, I want to jump to another topic. Let me know if you have any questions. Yeah, let's proceed. Just give me a couple of minutes. Let us take a break, like 2 minutes break. Pani kayo logo. Okay, so again, that part is gone. I mean, the indigenous issue, all these topics, discussions done. Now, let's start this topic, the functioning of government. So, from today, for the next 2, 3 classes, I will teach you how the government functions in Nagaland. We will not be able to go through all the departments, but at least I will tell you how, in general, how various departments functions individually in Najalibi. And we will also study about village councils, VDBs, Dubashis, Gonboras, and similar acts and rules. Okay, so this morning let's have an introductory class for this topic, which is called, I'm just mentioning it, the functions, administration in government. So again, for your NPSC exams, the ask questions from this section as well. Powers and functions of Governor of Nagaland, special powers of Governor of Nagaland, courts of Nagaland, functions and powers of Deputy Commissioner, functions and powers of Commissioner Nagaland. Inigabi takan questions kan tikishi all these past years, right? Now let's start. You can see the picture. Every
Yes.
government, every government, there are three pillars, which is called legislative, executive, and judiciary. So even for the government of Nagaland, they should have three pillars, and we have three pillars, which is the legislative, executive, and judiciary. Can someone tell me? Yes, not yes. Can someone tell me an example of Nagaland legislative to Kunaze?
Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha.
That is for the central government. Ho, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. Do. In Nagaland, legislative kandu Kunaze.
MLA.
Yes, the MLA. Even the CM is an MLA, right? Because he has to be first in MLA. After that, only he becomes the CM. Minister can be of MLA as a, because MLA simply means member of Legislative Assembly. There is an assembly which is whose members are elected through election. In Nagaland, the seat is, we have only one house, which is the Vidhan Sabha, the Nagaland Legislative Assembly. Nagaland Legislative Assembly, 60 seats. We have discussed, we have learned yesterday Already before that, it started with 46. Now it is 60. So this, they are the one who makes laws for the people, and they are the legislative. Now, who are the executive then?
Government, chief minister.
Every to abuni niga particular exam ki niga pass ho. Yes. Chief Secretary ba logina, Chief Secretary ba logina, directors, secretaries, yes, all of the people who are carrying out the government departments, we are the executive, correct? So Chief Secretary ba logina, all the bureaucrats, all these people heading all these departments, they are the executive because we carry out the laws. Now, what about the judicial then? Judicial to kuna situ? Nagaland nagado judicial to kuna ho? Yes. So judicial will be the court. We don't have High Court in Nagaland. We still come under the Kohati High Court, but we have a bench in Nagaland which is called the Kohima Bench, right? So, and in all the districts we have the district and session judge, correct? So these are the judicial, and all these three are independent of each other, correct? Yes. Now, if we are clear with this, now let's start with, when it comes to the administration government of Nagaland, we have to start with Article 371A. Because Article 371A is the basis for the formation of the government of Nagaland. We are familiar. See, I know whenever you read about Article 371A, you have seen only this part. Article 371A, clause number 1. So we know this, we have memorized this. But there's also a clause B, okay? Article 371 ito inoide. Aro, there's a longer version. And this part is fully concentrated to Eastern Nagaland. Right. So Article 371A says that notwithstanding anything in this constitution, no act of parliament in respect of religious or social practice of the Nagas, Naga customary law and procedure, administration of civil and criminal justice involving decisions according to Naga customary laws, ownership and transfer of land and its resources shall apply to the state of Nagaland, unless the Nagaland Legislative Assembly by a resolution or so decide. This is the main crux. And these are the rights given to us, right? That the Indian Parliament there in Delhi cannot make laws, right? In contrary to the religious and social practice of the Nagas, Naga customary law and procedure, all these things we are given priority, right? Unless, see, unless the Nagaland state legislature by a resolution decides, this is also the clause that has been inserted. Now, the clause P is about special powers of the governor of Nagaland. In Article 371A, Section 1, this is Section 1, Clause A, we have already learned. Section B is about the governor of Nagaland. Now, at this time, remember that Tunsang area was clubbed with Naga Hills, and we formed the Naga Hills Tunsang area before the formation of the state. So the governor of Nagaland will have special responsibility with respect to law and order in the state of Nagaland for so long as, in his opinion, internal disturbances occurring in the Naga Hills Tinsang area immediately before the formation of the state continued therein or in any part thereof, and in the discharge of his functions and relations thereto, the governor shall, after consulting the council of ministers, exercise his individual judgment as to the action to be taken. Right? So this was included in Article 371A, Clause B of Section 1, that Governor of Nagaland will tie special power dagibo regarding, because at that time there were a lot of internal disturbances occurring in the Naga Health Tinsang area immediately before the formation of the state. Okay, So if the governor of Nagaland submits to the president, it says here that this power is no longer necessary, then only this power will be removed. If the president, on receipt of a report from the governor or otherwise, is satisfied that it is no longer necessary for the governor to have special responsibility with respect to law and order in the state of Nagaland, he may by order direct the governor shall cease to have such responsibility with effect from such as specified in the order. So the governor has to write to the president in order to remove this power, but this power is still in place. So I'll come back to that. But what is the role of governor of Nagaland? Like other governors in the country, the governor of Nagaland exercises his executive, legislative, and discretionary powers. First is chief ministers, council of ministers appointed by the governor, right? Governor also appoints the state election commissioner. Who is the state election commissioner? Anyone? Nagaland? Nam nohi designation do libi kobi. Who is the state election commissioner? No idea. Okay, so let's start. You know who is the chief minister? Dr. Rio. How many ministers? How many ministers are allowed? Nagaland is allowed to have how many ministers?
12.
Yes, 12. State election commissioner, yes, the former DGB, correct. Chairman and members. Who is the chairman of NPSC?
Kunji Kunyak.
Konji Kungyak. Who is the chief information commissioner of Nagaland? Who is the chief information commissioner of Nagaland? No idea.
KV can say. Not sure.
I think it was recently appointed. Okay, I know the previous one, Mionen, but after that, somebody was appointed. I have to check. And who is the Advocate General of Nagaland? Advocate General of Nagaland? No idea. I don't want to like no. Pala Gopal, right? Okay, so he appoints all this Advocate General, CIC, members of NPSC, Chairman, State Election Commissioner. Governor appoints all this. The Governor of Nagaland appoints all this. So, and summoning, proroguing, and dissolving the State Legislative Assembly, right? That is the role of the governor. He will summon the State Legislative Assembly. He will dissolve the State Legislative Assembly, and he will give assent to bills passed by the legislature, issuing of ordinances when the legislature is not in session. So these are some of the role of the governor, right? So, but what are the special responsibilities? The governor of Nagaland has got special responsibility that is under law and order. In exam, if they ask, they will ask only about the special responsibility. So, special responsibility given to the governor of Nagaland is under law and order. The governor of Nagaland has been given special responsibility for maintaining law and order in the state, particularly in response to external disturbances. Pitru manu lagat jamila kwaizo ito na takan nilikilibi internal disturbances in the Naga Hills Tinsang area that existed before the state's formation. Nagaland nohadam di Naga Hills Tinsang area di internal disturbances tagado governor do tai itu power aze maintain gorle law and order. So the governor exercises individual judgment after consulting the Council of Ministers, and their decisions in this regard are final unless the President of India directs otherwise. Meaning the governor exercises tai Council of Ministers can get council kurina tai laga view be ase, right? His judgment on various matters, and takana decision on whatever matter it is considered final unless the President of India directs otherwise. So, like we've discussed just a minute ago, this power of the governor will continue until the president, based on a report from the governor or so otherwise, determines it is no longer necessary. So, this is the special responsibility under law and order. The governor is also given some special responsibilities under finance, which says that under 1C, the governor ensures that funds provided by the government of India for specific purposes are loaded correctly in the state's budget and are not diverted to other demands. So governor ki power tikina ase ke funds kiman Nagaland government ke tigina ase itu tik chulaina nai itu Governor of Nagaland has been given that financial oversight. This ensures proper utilization of central funds for Nagaland's development and administrative needs. Okay, so it was this special power do ekta law and order day or ekta financial oversight and other responsibilities we have already discussed. Now some other responsibilities of the governor of Nagaland which I believe might be important for you MCQs. So Governor of Nagaland is the Chief Rector of Nagaland University. Nagaland University laga Chief Rector do Governor Aze. Global Open University, he's also the Chancellor of this. There was one university in Nagaland that became international university ho. Abunan kuno ba chane dagili mugi kobide. Is it
Sir,
global?
it's
I have a
Global Open University.
yeah. Global Open University is now international university na.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so yes, this needs to be updated. He is also the Chancellor of the International University. Nambi Iman Tangodeshide, International University, Nagaland. The Governor of Nagaland is the ex-official president of Raja Sainik Port in Indian Red Cross Society branch. So who is the ex-official president of Raja Sainik Port? Governor, Indian Red Cross laga ex-official president, governor. Aro Northeast Cultural Zone Center laga chairman, governor. Nagaland Bharat Scouts in Kais laga chief patron, governor. And so in history, Vishnu Sahi was the first governor of Nagaland. And the present governor of Nagaland is La Kanisan, unfortunately passed away. Now, who is the present governor of Nagaland?
Ajay Khanna. Ajay Kumar Bhala.
He is the governor of who? Manipur?
Yes, Manipur.
Okay. So, yes. So, moi do PPT do tay nomuradam di puna ase. So, his name is still there, but he passed away only last week. Okay. So, since 1963, Nagaland has had 21 governors. Okay. So, itya milagina to 20, 22 hobo, out of which 2 were given additional charge. So, it do 3 ho because I think even the present governor is given additional charge. Okay. So, this is about the governor of Nagaland. Now, we are talking about the legislative now. So when it comes to the state legislature, alak district, alak states can do upper house, lower house pi takibo. Only in Nagaland, we have only one, that is the Legislative Assembly. And it is the primary lawmaking body in the state. It is composed of the MLAs. The strength of Nagaland is 60. And Nagaland can have only 12 ministers. This is important. So I'll explain this. Earlier there were more than 20 ministers, but there was a law that was passed, right? And according to Article 164A, 1A, the total number of ministers, including the chief minister in a state council of ministers, shall not exceed 15% of the total number of members of the Legislative Assembly of the state. Hulibi to Nagaland to 60 as in na. So they are saying that it should not exceed 15%. 15% of 60 is 9, right? But we have 12. How come? See, however, it also states that the number of ministers shall not be less than 12. That is why, actually, as per the Act, that is Article 164 1A, we are supposed to have only 15% of 60, that is 9. But the law also states that ministers can do it should not be less than 12. That is why we are having 12 ministers. Okay, that is the clarification why Nagaland is allowed to have 12 ministers because of Article 164 1A, which states that the total ministers, Council of Ministers, shall not exceed 15% of the total number of Legislative Assembly members. Nagaland, we have 60 Legislative Assembly members. 15% is 9, but the law also says that the minister should not be less than 12. That is why Tinda Extado Halidije. So Pishi Law was the first CM. Nipirio is the present chief minister. I think Nipirio, I was in school when Nipirio was CM. Moi college bhi porise, masters bhi loise, university bhi porise, kam bhi kore aje, sadi bhi korise. Still, he is the chief minister. Okay. So since 1963, Nagaland has witnessed a total of 11 chief ministers. It would be Keep in mind. Right, now let's come to the state judiciary. Like some of you have mentioned correctly, state judiciary consists of a high court in a hierarchy of subordinate courts. Nagaland comes under the Guwahati High Court, and there is a circuit bench of the Guwahati High Court in Kohima, which was inaugurated on 1st December 1972. So Kohima Laga bench, which is called the Kohima bench of the High Court, Guwahati High Court, was inaugurated on 1st December 1972, and the permanent bench known as the Kohima bench was inaugurated on 10th February 1990, right? So earlier it was not a full-fledged bench, which was called the circuit bench, inaugurated in 1972. Our Kohima bench was inaugurated, the permanent bench was inaugurated in 1990. So the constitution under Article 165 is provided for the office of the Advocate General in every state who advises the state government in all legal matters. The present Advocate General of Nagaland is P.N. Pal Gopal. So, taibi ulop lamba serve kore ase. So this is about the judiciary. Now, I want to, this will be the last slide for today. We have discussed about legislature, now executive, how the bureaucracy in different department functions. Most of you, maybe some of you, most of you might be knowing this, but will be it was a day. This is how Nagaland government functions. See, it's like this. We have the chief secretary. Taido boss, he's the boss of the executive, right? Now, who is the present chief secretary? Can EAC reach the post of commissioner? No. But if EAC abuni pichide IS can for Hoshigulido, you can reach the post of commissioner. The present commissioner of Nagaland, who was appointed recently, was also in EAC. But he is conferred IAS, and so he reached the post of commissioner. But EACs can never reach the post of chief secretary, additional chief secretary, commissioner, and secretary. Yes. EACs can reach only till commissioner and secretary, but never till chief secretary. Now, this is how, this is Sinti Younger Emchen is the present chief secretary of Nagaland. Under him, there will be additional chief secretary, commissioner, and secretary. Under him, secretary, additional secretary. Now, this line that I'm showing here, itu do secretary is there. Nagaland secretary, this is the function. This is the function. This is how it functions. Now, can any one of you tell me a department? Department laga namik tatabido? There are so many departments in Nagaland. Give me the name of one department.
Forest Department.
Yeah, police department. Okay, so police administration to charagina alag department ko bido.
Health and Family Welfare.
Okay, health and family welfare. So health and family welfare, you know that it is led by a principal director, right? But see, remember, it is in the directorate. Every department will have two faces. One is in the secretariat, one is in the directorate. So chief secretary, he is the head of all the departments in the state, and he is assisted by the additional secretary. From commissioner secretary onwards, commissioner secretary will be given one department. So there will be so many commissioner secretaries in Nagaland. So commissioner secretary, or in some cases secretary. This commissioner secretary and secretary is actually the boss, the overall boss of the department. Health and family welfare be tagan principal director tagibo, but this is in the directorate. Above them, secretary, the commissioner secretary, the report to this. Okay, so in the, if you go to any office in Kohima, you will have the secretariat, directorate, and district office for health and family welfare. Principal director tagibo, talaga ito directorate, talaga ni director, additional director, joint director, deputy director, assistant director na tagibo. Holy be secretary ti jaigina tai be Health and Family Welfare Department be Commissioner Secretary takibo, Secretary, Additional Secretary, Joint Secretary, Deputy Secretary, Under Secretary, Section Officer, Under Section Officer, Secretariat Assistant. Now, if you NSS ti jai shugule in PSC exam, if you get NSS, you'll also be a SA in any department. Okay. Now, I've put this district administration laga because I want you to see the rank. Rank to kun chutu ase kun tangor ase itu wala do na. See, the director of any department, his rank is equivalent to the joint secretary only. Okay? Director laga rank to joint secretary ase. And this joint secretary rank is equivalent to deputy commissioner. So it man rank tangor no hoine deputy commissioner do government there. Suppose the present deputy commissioner, who is the present deputy commissioner of, let's say, Dimapur? Who is the present deputy commissioner of Dimapur?
Nachungshi.
Yeah, so Dr. Dinu Chongshi, I think he is a veterinary doctor, right? So Taibi EAC Dageshe, SDO Hoishe, ADC Hoishe, he is now the TC. TC to Tai Dimapuri Hota, Tagibo no, maybe after 1 or 2 years he'll be transferred. Itu time dia coach jabo. He will go either as the secretary Tijai Shigulito, he will go as a joint secretary because TC laga rank to joint secretary as. Are you following me? And if he goes to the department, he will go as director. Director and TC do same rank. Remember, TC and director is same rank. The TC of a district and the director of a department in the state is same rank. Secretary Tido, they are called joint secretary. Okay, so additional secretary is rank is greater than TC. Additional secretary rank is greater than director. Udula opari aro secretary, commissioner, secretary, chief secretary inega tagibo. Correct? So EAC laga rank to, if you look at the secretariat section, to EAC laga rank to section officer. Section officer laga rank over there, secretariat. STO civil, I am now in the position of STO civil. If I am transferred to secretariat, I will be under secretary. Right? So chief medical officer, itu to chutu aze, district laga level aze. So I will show you all this now. Additional deputy commissioner rank is deputy secretary. Okay? So ESC laga rank to, it will be more or less assistant director niga hobula.
Hello. 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 Hello.
Okay, let's continue class tomorrow. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, we'll start with where we are today and let's continue tomorrow. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Goodbye, girls.
Sir.
Girls, goodbye.
Beda. चलो ठीक है